Hello, everyone. This is JBL, and today I'm joined with
Christopher!
yes, and we're a podcast name
Podcast
in
name in
brackets.
brackets.
Yes, hello, Christopher. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. Today we're gonna be talking about something different than normal. Today we'll be focused on the movie Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We both watched it.
We both did.
And that's about all we have to say for today. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you guys for listening. So yeah, what do you think about it, Christopher?
I went into the movie with certain expectations, or all right, I have one major expectation and I have one major hope.
Hmm.
The major hope was part of the reason why I love 2 so much is Peter and Gamora.
Ah.
And so I was hoping that Gamora would come around this one. That didn't happen. And at the end of the day, it's fine what happened, right?
Yeah.
But I was still looking forward to it, and I didn't get it, and that's okay. If
Hmm.
I want it, then I'll just rewatch number 2. But it's still
Yeah.
disappointing. But
Of
that
course.
doesn't make the movie bad.
No.
And then, if you guys haven't figured out, we're talking spoilers. So,
Spoilers, yes.
anyways, but my expectation was someone core was going to die.
Or multiple would die.
Yes. And that did not happen.
Nobody
Which,
died.
I'm not going to lie, is fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, after I thought about it, because I went in with those 2 things, and neither of those things happened. And so for a while, like a good solid 20 hours, I was wrestling with it. And I was thinking,
Mm.
okay, so my expectations weren't met. And I don't have to accept the movie for what it is for it to be good, but I can if I want to. 'Cause especially like after like Quantum Mania, there are some people like go in and watch it with an open mind. That is that essentially meant lower your expectations.
Yeah.
Um, and so like this isn't like that. Obviously, if you're not its target audience, then you're not its target audience. That's one thing. But um, I was like, all right, where do I play that balance? And after really thinking about it, it's like, okay, obviously Gamora wasn't want. I thought someone dying would be core to the integrity of the story. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, no, it didn't have to be. It's still a good story. Everyone can essentially have a happy ending and not have to see these characters again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
because
both
yeah,
can be the case.
part of the rumors of like characters dying is like some of the actors. This is their last film. This is
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn's last time directing for Guardians so far,
Mm-hmm.
and so we just assume, oh, well, people are gonna die. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
Drax will die. I knew,
And
I knew coming into this film that Chris Pratt wasn't sure if he would come back.
mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, well, he could die too. Would Rocket die? I don't know. The trailer kind of looked interesting. So,
I I think honestly, I did not think Drax would die. As much as I knew Dave Bautista did not want to be Drax again, I did not think he was going to die. I had a strong feeling that Rocket would die prior to, like, remember when they released all those individual posters and all of them were Rocket, and everyone's like, oh, Rocket's going to die.
mm,
And before then, I had indications or feelings that Rocket could die. That didn't happen. Um, I honestly did not see Peter dying. So honestly, when they did his potential death moment, honestly caught me by surprise. Um, honestly, I would have seen Gamora dying, um,
again,
especially yeah, especially as it relates to timeline things. Obviously, James Gunn doesn't have to abide by the rest of the MCU, but I still would have wondered like, that would make sense to kill her off
hmm
timeline wise.
Yeah, no. Peter going off into space and then getting frozen like that. I was like, this is kind of a weird moment to kill off a character like that.
Hmm.
Um, One, we've established that he is part celestial and can
Oh,
survive. In the first film, he survived in space. Barely.
when was that?
Uh,
Oh, wait,
he,
wait, wait. I remember.
yeah, he went out
Ish.
to save Gamora. He took off his mask, gave it to her, and he
Yeah.
was freezing. He was dying, but he was fine. Here he was swelling up.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, the reason why I didn't think his character was gonna die then was one, the moment was weird. Two, they kept bringing up the grandpa.
Hmm.
His grandpa. Like they brought it up first, and then they kept bringing it up, and then they had the picture with the grandpa, and I was like, well, the film has to end with him and grandpa. If it doesn't, then what's the point?
What could you explain more about why it's weird? Like your first point. Like, was there more?
It was just like the how it was happening. It was less of a I'm dying because of a heroic moment. I'm just like, oh no, this thing. Just I don't know. See, it's the tone and the pacing of it
Hmm.
that just didn't feel right. Um, because it just kind of comes out of nowhere
Mm-hmm.
because all the emotional weight was on Rocket
Mm-hmm.
at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so then just to shift it to Peter, if he had died there, I wouldn't have really cared
Mm-hmm.
as much.
Yeah. Since we're on that, was do you think that was necessary?
Can you say that again?
Well, since we're on that scene, do you feel like that scene was necessary?
I don't know. I get
I would
why,
agree.
because they want to have Warlock redeem himself, but they could have had that happen if he joined the Guardians after his mother died to fight against the High Evolutionary for revenge against killing his mother.
True.
Instead, he's just there to save Peter and do a visual gag with his name, with the creation of man pose.
I didn't catch. I noticed like the fingers touching part. Now the connection is made. Ah,
Yeah, that was it, because his name is Adam,
makes sense.
and he's a godlike figure
Mm-hmm.
in Marvel.
I think I'm gonna pass this on to you in a moment.
Yeah,
I think after resolving those two core things, I think I finally boiled it down to it's a good movie. It took me a
yeah.
bit to get there, but yeah.
I mean,
So what?
especially
What did
compared to like everything we've gotten in the past phase,
right?
it is a good movie.
So you answer like, what do you think of this movie?
I it's hard to really think about it. I've been really struggling just to have concise thoughts on it because of course I've been busy working, and also I'm graduating this next week, so my mind's on that as well. But yeah, no, literally I watched the film with my mom, immediately went to an exam, and then had to go to work right after that. So
What time of day?
the exam was at
to
3:30.
do what?
So I watched
Okay,
the
so that
film
was
at I watched like the 11:30 matinee show
okay.
on Friday. So but yeah, generally I enjoyed the film. I thought it was good. Uh One of the best ones that we've gotten recently. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's my second favorite Guardians, below the first one.
Mm-hmm. Is the first one just nostalgic?
I I think the first one did a good job at separating itself from the MCU,
Mm.
because every other film after that first one copied Guardians pretty much.
You know what?
It,
So just on that point, this movie, I noticed it. I noticed how the Guardians have become the blueprint of the MCU.
Yeah. And so yeah, and so I applaud, but I like just the way things happen in the first one. Every character had something. Drax was the most of a character in that first film. In every time afterwards, he's more of a joke figure.
Right.
He has nice moments, but he's mainly just a joke figure, which is why like I was expecting him to die because it would give him something to do. Pretty much. Yeah, I just think that one had the better overall conflict. Because here was just the main investment of this film was Rocket. Everything else you could just ignore and not miss much.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly. Um, yeah, no. I've heard that this film is either really great or not great, but better than the stuff we had recently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a mixed bag. But I think mostly it's a positive film.
Fun fact: this is actually the highest rated MCU film on Letterboxd.
Well, the film just came out, so give it some time.
I know it just came out, but it's still like crazy to think that. So it's sitting at 4.2.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh wow, like so that's the highest on Letterboxd.
I mean, I give it a 4 as well.
I've been thinking about a 4 as well. Because like I've never been in love with the Guardians, whether it be the movies. I love Gamora. She's like a top, or at least our first iteration of Gamora. She's like a top 5 MCU character, but never necessarily like I love the group so much. And I think this movie is like the Dark Knight.
Oh yes.
So it's a solid standalone movie, despite it being part of the trilogy.
It's solid standalone, although I think it works better like having the other films going into it.
Well, that's one thing. Two things. Number one, with the Infinity War Endgame, specifically Infinity War, I feel like that it's a weird bump in that road of it being a quote smooth trilogy. You know what I mean?
Right, because that Gunn wasn't fully part of that, so
right. And so there's part of me that wishes, in hindsight, maybe that they weren't so heavily involved, simply for the trilogy to feel more self-contained.
Right.
But I think, like, because I will say of the 3 movies, like this was the most I was kind of able to appreciate. Like I've said, like I feel like I like 2 better than 1. I've never been crazy about the Guardians. This is the closest I've come to like loving.
Also, it's like a very character-specific film.
That's true.
For Rocket, for the most part, the rest are tools to serve the rest of the plot. But
true.
Like honestly, there's just a really good story for Rocket.
I think after like Revenge of the Sith and thinking about that, like how I love that movie because that's so character specific. Maybe that's just what I enjoy in general.
I mean, the second one was also much more character specific for Peter.
True.
The first one was more of like just getting the gang together type thing.
You mentioned pacing earlier.
Yeah, no, the pacing is very quick at times, where it's like, okay, we are going to go to this. By the way, here's the Ravengers. By the way, here's Gamora. So break into this facility now. It happened very quick.
Despite it being quick, the movie felt full in a good way.
Sure, I did feel that there's probably too much going on at times. Where,
Because
yeah,
go on.
where it's like there's also just a lot of just pauses for a comedic effect. Of course, because it's a comedic film, but like the film slows down for the comedy, and right when I'm like, man, I really want to see some more Rocket, they go back to Rocket. Because it's really Rocket that brings this film up. Everything else is standard for me.
Right. My issue with the first movie is like it passes by with a snap of a finger. Like the pacing,
it does. Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels too quick of a movie for me, and that's a personal thing. That it's not necessarily against the movie, but I found myself it's always been hard for me to enjoy the first one because I'm like, by the time I feel settled in, we're in the third act and we're ready to do our big battle scene. I'm like, whoa, how do we get here so fast? But
I did kind of like that this one was kind of smaller scale in that we weren't going after this villain because he's going to destroy the world. We're going after this villain to save Rocket and to save our friends.
One thing we're also talking about pacing comedic moments. That, like, it really...
Yeah, so really what stands out in that regard is when they break into the facility, the flesh facility, and have to disguise themselves and try to get all that stuff. That's really where the film slows down, because then they want to show off Nathan Fillion, who is the head guard, who I love the actor. He's really funny. But I did feel that section slowed down to show off different bits going on.
Well, the thing I was going to mention is after they killed off Rocket's friends.
Oh, yeah.
And right after that, we had to have a Drax joke. And I'm like, I didn't have time to breathe after that.
I don't remember what the joke was.
I don't remember what the joke was. That's not important. The point is, like, it went right after, like, arguably the most emotional part of the movie into comedy relief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't feel like I was able to sink in the moment. Like, I just thought of this. Maybe it would have been interesting if, I mean, he doesn't have the MP3 player, but, like, if like, we saw, like, Rocket and his facial expressions as he's flying away with a song, because he flew out and we pretty much transitioned right after that. Like, if I had a moment to sit in the moment and to feel his pain, because as much as he's running away, he's still wallowing in the pain in the moment.
Yeah.
And so to have an additional, I don't know, 10 to 15 seconds would have been nice in my mind.
Yeah.
And I was just, like, I do enjoy the comedy, but it was like a too soon moment.
Yeah. No, comedy is always either hit or miss. I think this one was, man, this film is so dark. It's probably the darkest MCU thing we've had so far. Not maybe the end of Infinity War, but like this one visually, they showed a lot more stuff.
Well, the thing is, with Infinity War, everyone's just, wow, this deals with cruelty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it deals with animal cruelty, body horror, like even like the dark comedy. It's like, oh, we're gonna casually shoot this woman's leg, she's gonna scream, but we're gonna move on like it's nothing. Or we're saving this boat full of animals. This monkey rips off this woman's face. Haha, funny moment.
As much as Infinity War is like a worldwide threat, and in that way is dark in that way, there's something very, like, Guardians 3 is very personally dark, because you're dealing with individuals who are being hurt.
even just again, like it's dark humor where the joke is pain, and that's funny. It is funny, but it's also like, I watched this with my mom, and I was like, interesting. I know what she's gonna say when the movie comes, like afterwards, and she did say it. It's like, so, there are kids that are going to watch this film. It's like, yep.
You know what? I really hate how casually people take their kids to watch things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you should, like, when a movie has a PG-13, you shouldn't just be like, oh, since I can take my kids in, it'll be fine.
But it's also the
it's PG-13. Sorry, what?
It's also the Marvel IP. It's the MCU. And so they've been trained to expect like a fun thing that the whole family, quote unquote, can enjoy. Then we come here with animal cruelty, with the body horror of just the robotic arms. Floor. That made me sad. Floor. The bunny.
That hurt.
Just her design is just like so effective on me. It's like, And then of course them dying, Rocket like scratching High Evolutionary's face. We don't really see in detail, but like it's horrific enough, the editing in that sequence, of course.
And then of course that makes so that's why he got his face replaced. That makes sense.
Because Rocket ripped the heck out of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's kind of dark. And then of course they peel his face off, and it's like, oh yeah, no.
That I really didn't expect. Honestly, like The Dark Knight prepared me to see that scene because I struggled watching The Dark Knight and Two-Face.
So like I'm pretty sure they use The Dark Knight as an example of like, hey, this still counts as PG-13. Look at what they did.
Right.
So this film is teetering on rated R. Like they've got an F-bomb, the first MCU F-bomb in this. Which I'm disappointed that Deadpool wasn't the first one to introduce it, but
Honestly, it almost makes sense that it would be Guardians to do it.
Gunn is the type of person who would do it, for sure.
Yeah. Gunn mentioned that the Russos almost had an F-bomb.
That would have been Iron Man's last words. Go F yourself.
Which I'm glad it wasn't that.
I'm glad that they're like, I don't know if we want this to be our legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And besides, the line that they replaced it with is like so iconic now.
It really is. Like, imagine if it was "Go F Yourself" and like that would the whole audience cheered and it'd be like, oh wait, that and it'd be such a weird energy shift.
It would be, especially for families. It'd be weird. It's like, oh, Iron Man.
So that's my thing. I get like the MCU is a bit of a gem out of a lot of things. I get it, but it probably is really because I've been sheltered my life, right? But I really don't get it when people consider Marvel a family IP. I don't get it. Like, it's like they're young kids who watch Marvel.
It's because superheroes is more of a kid thing. Like we have all the animated shows based on these characters. There's a Guardians of the Galaxy animated series. Those kids want to see those characters in the big screen. That's why they go and see it. That's why I don't want to have like an R-rated Star Wars, because Star Wars should be consistent, and now also it is a family IP. Like Andor is pushing the line, but it still stays within the realm mostly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I had a friend who started watching Andor but stopped watching because it was too adulty.
I get that, yeah.
And like, there are people who are there more for the family-friendly fun than a good storyline. And no
Yeah.
fault to the person. It's just like, there are some people who want different things.
Will I want to introduce the MCU to my kids? Well, at least it's better than DC.
True. So, but like, at what age would you introduce the MCU to your kids?
13.
I will say
10.
my thought is like, you do the Infinity Saga and then you give it a break before breaking into the Multiverse Saga, because the Multiverse Saga is darker and more confusing. What?
I'll get them hooked on the animated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then as they get older, I'll weave in the films.
Mm-hmm.
That's my plan for DC. That's the plan I give for you. Start with animation, because that's really where the height of those characters are.
Mm.
And then go on. But yeah, no, it's a dark film.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I appreciate that it feels separated than from all the MCU stuff that feels similar.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. And also, I get that the darkness really helps with the story being told with Rocket.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no lighthearted way to tell that story and be impactful.
There's the clip of the four naming each other, and like that was one of the clips they released before the movie hit theaters.
Oh yeah, we knew they were going to die.
I mean, I didn't watch it before.
Uh-huh.
And so honestly, there was even part of me wondering, oh, where are they today while watching the movie, right? And then to find out that they were killed. So I never really knew. I didn't know those characters really existed. Like, I knew, but like never knew. And so I never thought about where they were today. So honestly, it was a bit of a surprise when they were killed off. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? When they were talking about, it's like, man, it's really great to have friends. I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna die. Like, that's such a heavy-handed, heavy-fisted just line to put there if you're not gonna kill them off. That's like My Little Pony's level of corniness. Yeah, that's obvious. They're gonna die, and it's gonna be sad, and it worked still. It was them dying was really sad.
My point is, like, that scene after watching the movie in theaters, I watched that scene like 4 times on YouTube songs. I'm just like, it's so innocent.
It's so innocent. It's so sad. It's horrific too, because of like what's happened to their bodies. I feel so bad for Floor. I love Floor, but
like, out of all of them, Floor was the hardest to look at.
Yeah, because it's not just like robot arms, the spider legs. It's also the mouth as well.
And her eyes are so red.
Yeah, and like the soft the child voice that comes out of it. Oh,
my goodness, so sad.
Oh,
like, I want to tear up right now thinking about it.
I know, like the Rocket stuff got me kind of sad and tearing up. Like, my favorite moment of this film is when Rocket finds the baby raccoons and just sees that their species is a raccoon and then accepts his name, just gathering all the babies up on him. It's like, it's so sad, so sweet. I'm so happy for Rocket right now.
Speaking of that time-ish, the hallway fight scene, like I've mentioned, I do not watch things for action necessarily, but holy crap, that was so good.
It was also, again, it's also kind of graphic, but like, I get it. Those were alien monsters. You can get as graphic as you want with that. Yeah. But yeah, it was also like, Nebula, her neck got snapped back.
Yeah.
That woman is just invincible.
She pretty much is. Like, when she got pierced right at the beginning, I forgot that she was essentially a robot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's a really cool hallway fight that people are like saying it's like, it's up there with Daredevil, maybe even a little higher. We'll see. But yeah, no, I do appreciate a good oneer, even if like it is mostly visual effects, but still really good choreographed and put together.
Yes.
Really cool.
Yes.
What you expect for our Guardians team to do.
I mean, honestly, like, I don't know the movie super well, so dare I say I didn't see it coming.
I mean, I didn't say I saw it coming. I'm just saying it felt like Guardians, which does bring a problem with the film at the end. Rocket is choosing to not kill the High Evolutionary.
It frustrates me so much.
It's frustrating because they've shown throughout this film that they don't really care. But Rocket's excuse is, I'm a Guardian of the Galaxy. I'm like, well, that doesn't mean anything, Rocket. You'll kill everyone.
Mm-hmm. You just killed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
How is he any different? And then not to mention, so not only did they not kill him, they never showed him die. So it really, in my mind, it just is in limbo if he even is dead.
Yeah. Like, I'd understand it if it's like, let the ship blow him up.
Which, maybe that did happen, but also we did see he did have some kind of Loki-esque, and then, everything else and blows, you know what I mean?
So gravity powers, yeah.
Yeah, so he could be powerful enough to withstand space. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe not, but maybe.
I mean, he's a cool villain.
I mean, like, again, if he essentially made Adam, in theory, and Adam can survive space, then in theory, he could have upgraded himself.
With his face peeled off and everything, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Again, like, I feel like that is definitely a character, not necessarily from James Gunn, but, So I don't see him returning. I don't see how he could return in context. But, like, it's still very frustrating because that would have been, from an audience perspective, it would have been very satisfying to see him go.
It's a common hero trope to let the villain live at the end. And for most other films, I'd agree, but like this one, I don't see it in those characters to spare him. I think they just, without question, just shoot him point blank in the face and shrug it off.
Because again, if you let the man go, he will be responsible for hurting many, many more. Like, he's a criminal, and he will not be stopped. He thinks he's God. You get rid of him.
And plus, like, these characters, they would do that, for sure. Like, Drax.
Oh my god. Drax would have jumped on him.
Drax would have jumped off and, like, shivved him constantly, stabbing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, while doing it. Like, they're so prone to just do things like that it's like, why not?
Right. How did you feel about the Gamora stuff?
So for some part, I felt like she didn't really need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, I felt like Quinn was pushing too hard. I really wanted Quill to just stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Quill, stop it. It's not the same woman. I was cringing a lot with him, with Gamora. I was like, no, stop it. That's like, ugh.
Oh, okay, so there was one moment when Quill is trying to riz the lady at the desk, and then Gamora just bursts in and says, no, we're doing it my way, essentially.
Yeah.
I died laughing because it was, like, so unexpected.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I was the only person who laughed.
Oh.
And like the theater's full. Everyone laughs at everything else. And that's the one part I die at. And my laugh.
Yeah, I know your laugh. Yeah.
Like, I'm not necessarily embarrassed about. I'm just like, how did no one else laugh?
Did they
Like,
laugh when
that
the
just-
woman got shot in the leg?
When was that? I don't remember when that was.
Oh, that was during the hectic scene where they were trying to escape or something. It's very quick. Again, it's very quick. Like, blink and you miss it.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Even that, like, I don't personally remember. But let's be fair. A theater audience will laugh at most anything.
Yeah.
So, and I don't laugh at most anything in movies. So, like, they probably laughed at it. Let's be honest. I don't remember.
Probably.
Like, obviously, the F-bomb, there's a big...
of course, yeah.
Yeah. What always kind of pisses me off is whenever people laugh at the jokes from the trailer. It kind of pisses me off.
It's like, didn't you watch the trailer?
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep. There it is.
It's still the same. It's not as funny.
I remember, like, watching No Way Home, and when there was, like, that scene of, like, Garfield and his arm is raised up as he's talking with the others.
Yes.
And there was a little murmur, like...
There were so many gasps in my theater.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I do distinctly remember the murmur, because I saw that myself, and it's like, hey, that's the thing. It's the same clip and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually surprised they were talking about the F-bomb before the movie released. I thought that would have been one of those, dare I say, Marvel reveals that they would have waited till at least Friday.
I guess.
Like, that was one of the clips that they posted online.
The
They
F-bomb?
did bleep out the F. They did bleep out the F-bomb, but it was still like, oh, there's no way that the movie's going to have a bleep in it at that moment.
Sure.
And then there were interviews about the F-bomb before Friday. I'm like, wow, this is on the level of, like, Rhodey appearing out of nowhere kind of moment. You know what I mean? Just, like, random and, uncalled for, dare I say. And, like, and you're talking about before the movie releases, like, I thought it was interesting they were doing press.
You were so brave to do this F-bomb in this film.
Yeah.
It's for the empowerment of whatever.
The future Marvel movies.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Now it makes me wonder, because for a while we're almost thinking Blade would be the exclusive F-bomb movie, but now, like, I know Guardians is Guardians, but now it's like the door is open. Now we got Blade coming up, we got some Avengers movies coming up.
We definitely have Deadpool, so.
I mean, Deadpool is a duh, but I mean, duh. But, like, now it's especially Blade, where maybe that's still in writing. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Unless it becomes R-rated, like, if it stays PG-13, like, will they be like, oh yeah, Blade's definitely going to say it, kind of thing. Now Nick Fury, now Samuel L. Jackson's going to be like, all right, now that you said it, I get to say it. You know what I mean?
Secret Invasion.
I'm not expecting a Secret Invasion, but then again, Stranger Things did it. So
yeah.
So it's Secret Invasion.
I mean, they kept, like, cutting him off before he says it, so.
Yeah. So at this point, Samuel L. Jackson will want his.
For sure. I mean, he just says it all the time.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when his lightsaber from Star Wars, he has the prop at home. On the hilt.
He does?
Itself, yeah, he has the prop. His lightsaber hilt says "bad mother effer" on it.
Okay, I saw the clip of the origin of the purple lightsaber.
Yes.
I just saw that, and that is a glorious clip.
I want mine to be purple. I want to see myself.
That smile on his face. He might get one. And that smile, oh my gosh. That was
It
amazing.
was definitely the coolest color to have. It's like, oh, purple! Wow, we've never seen that before. Everybody wants one. I have one. But yeah, no. What did you think about Adam Warlock?
If there's one significant thing that could be cut from the movie, it would be him. I was like, he really didn't do that much.
Outside of the very first scene, he wasn't really needed.
Yeah.
Here's like we were talking before we started recording about the Gunverse for DC, and I was saying this film made me about less sure about the Gunverse, and the reason why was because of Adam Warlock, and it's pretty much proves my thoughts about Gunn and how he treats characters. He treats characters that will best serve the story that he wants to tell. So here, Adam Warlock is goofy. He's a child. And like I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed a lot of his scenes. He was funny. But that's not at all Adam Warlock that we're supposed to know. Like he's not the hero of his people. That his sole purpose is to be the hero of his people. That he cares all about, but he failed his people. They're all dead.
Did they all die, or was it just his mom?
Well, in the comics, he's the last one.
Gotcha.
I believe. Here, his mom dies. His people is indeed threatened, so he's still all about his people. But yeah, he's pretty much played off as a joke, and that's what I fear for Gunn in the DC universe. He's like he's gonna take these characters who have an established history in the comics that are so deep and rich, and turn them into jokes. He's already done that with Suicide Squad with a lot of those characters. So he cherry picks the ones that he wants to develop into accurate characters, which is not that much. But then he likes to just switch the characters to fit his ragtag team of misfits that are comedic in their own way. I mean, I could be wrong. He could prove me wrong, but from everything I've seen him do, that's not what I'm thinking is going to happen.
I will say, I don't have a strong negative opinion about Adam Warlock. It is just what I said. I don't care about him. Take him out of the movie, I wouldn't blink. But I don't have a strongly negative opinion. I feel like there are going to be some people who will, right?
Yeah.
But it very much is just I didn't think his inclusion was necessary, and it's essentially sad because he was teased and it's been in limbo for at least half a decade. This is what it is.
He was teased. He's a big part of the Guardians mythos. He is a big part of the Infinity Saga, but he wasn't there obviously. And then just to have him be reduced to this comedic character, which is funny, but again, it's not Adam Warlock. It's like Drax, comedic, funny, but that's not really Drax.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, still huge props to the story that was created for Rocket. Can't ignore that, but I think that is the issue with the MCU in general. Again, people have said that about our main 6 Avengers. So much focus on Tony and Captain America. It's not necessarily that they hate the other 4 characters, but they did get sidelined and their stories weren't as well developed. And I feel like that is the issue with such a large group of characters, that you can only truly develop a few.
But that's where we are. I don't hate Warlock, but I know that he's definitely not at all what he's supposed to be.
I can't believe we haven't talked about him yet.
High Evolutionary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my freaking goodness.
Yes. I've been hearing a lot of like, this guy's better than Kang.
And so I'm not gonna lie, if we lose Jonathan Majors, I hope he becomes Kang.
I don't think it'll happen like that, but like I wouldn't be against him.
Right.
I really dug his performance for sure.
I mean, I don't know what other options we have for King, but I'm saying like, for the limited knowledge I know, like he would work. Like he does the dual personality so well, and he's so large in his performance, and those are things that remind me of Jonathan Majors King. Even though Majors did have more of a soft, manipulative side to his performance, and again, that was for that specific King. But I feel like, oh, this guy, I don't remember his name, but he has range.
He has range, and also like he's not playing a manipulative character. He's sincere. Like he's talking to his creation. He appreciates what he creates, but he's also not afraid to just destroy it outright.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, no, I really found his performance intriguing. Although when he starts to become unhinged and starts yelling, not as great, but like still fine.
I mean, I just like there's that. Still, I feel like
it's been a while since we've had a villain that like, oh yes, I really appreciate it. Goblin is the last one I think of that I really enjoyed.
I'm surprised how many people like. There's been like some tweets on Twitter like the Mount Rushmore of MCU villains: Thanos. Some people have Loki. Definitely, I did say Thanos. Goblin. High Evolutionary. But then some people have put Namor. And like, really? Like nothing. Like, especially the fact that he's essentially coming back. Like, I don't feel like he's that established. Like, honestly, like, also to be fair, I'm not that big of a Loki fan either.
Yeah.
And then plus with, like, Loki's similar to Namor or vice versa in that, you know, they're not completely the villain.
Right.
So I don't know. Anyways, but like, it was so ironic how Goblin was like, oh my gosh, this is practically the best MCU villain, and he's not even an MCU character. And then now we have High Evolutionary, like, holy crap.
Yeah, no. So, watching this film also reminded me of something that, like, I wanted to tell you about. Is that if you look close enough, almost every Marvel villain is either green or purple.
Interesting.
And that's a comics thing. Where most of our superheroes' designs are either blue or red. And so the opposite end of the spectrum is green or purple for that. And so that's why you have practically every Spider-Man villain is either green or purple.
That makes sense, I guess.
Which brings us to the Hulk, who's green and purple. Could be a thing where our hero is Bruce Banner, Hulk is the villain inside him. But because of recent, we see more of the hero character, his color scheme not as thematically prominent as it once was.
Honestly, if you ask me what colored shorts he's worn recently, I wouldn't be able to say. But then again, I don't feel like he's worn shorts in the past few entries.
Yeah, purple. They in recent entries, like purple hasn't really been the color for his shorts, but green and purple is the colors for the Hulks.
Honestly, even in The Avengers, I don't even think he wore, at least not a deep purple.
No. Yeah.
Was it even purple?
It was like a muddy purple, earthy browny purple. But yeah, no, like the only time purple was really a thing for the MCU was in the Hulk movie, where he goes to the store and Betty's like, "I bought you these shorts," and there's giant purple shorts, and he's like, "I'm not wearing that." But yeah, no color, cause yeah, High Evolutionary, he's purple.
Mm-hmm.
Kang, green, purple, I think as well.
Well, I feel like blue,
Blue
at least
face,
in
but
Quantumania.
blue face, but like costume, purple accents, green robe, I think.
I'm not gonna deny it.
Goblin, definitely green and purple.
Definitely green.
Just like all these colors.
Mm-hmm. That is really interesting.
It is. Once you notice it, you can't unsee it.
Mm.
Yep. But yeah, High Evolutionary, very interesting character. Again, like his main goal isn't to destroy the universe, but to create a perfect society. But he goes about it in such a wrong way.
Yeah.
Like he casually just blows up a planet of his own creation.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even have time to like think about that. We just shrug that off.
Right.
He's got children in cages. He's got those 3 monsters. Mantis did some cool stuff.
Okay, yeah, actually that's a good point. Like, because like in Endgame, I've said this before, I'm like, what did she do in that final battle in Endgame? And honestly, I don't know if she did exactly that in Guardians 3, but now I feel at peace with that question. You know what I mean?
Mm, yeah.
Like, okay, she actually can do stuff.
Yeah, pretty cool. And now she has like a trio of monster things to go with her all around. Fun times.
So, how do you feel with our end credit scenes?
End credit scenes. The first one was just the first one I liked seeing more of just Rocket in his new role. I think it's like a send off to the characters versus like we're actually teasing something.
I feel like it could go either way. You know what I mean? Like if they were to come back, that's the established group. But like at the same time, we don't have to see them again, and so that
we don't.
The last time we see them.
Yeah, we just let them know that Rocket's leading this team. Warlock's there. This child with Captain Marvel's powers is there. Groot is a giant thing.
Yes.
And then Peter's just eating cereal with Grandpa while talking about mowing the lawn.
But then
Star-Lord will return. Apparently nobody told Peter that.
Yeah.
Chris that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought was interesting. Either Chris Pratt is playing it off, or he doesn't know. Because like Taika Waititi, like I think he said after watching Love and Thunder, he didn't know that it would end with Thor would return. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I remember him saying.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. They've been having that text at the end, but still, there wasn't really a need to say that he will return at all.
Yeah, there was. Like, what if he doesn't return? You know what I mean? Like, it's not needed.
Yeah. So, like, you have that, and then Chris Pratt's like, "No, I'm done." Like, if he's coming back, it's probably going to be for Secret Wars.
Yeah.
But it's also surprising that it's just Star-Lord, not Guardians of the Galaxy will return.
Yeah. See, that's what I wonder. Like, okay, maybe Chris Pratt is in line to return. Honestly, I think it'd be more like King.
But like, he just had that interview as well.
Again, it might just be him, like, just trying to play it off.
I guess.
Another Garfield.
I guess.
Oh, I'm not going to spoil this for those who haven't seen the movie. Because that's the thing. Like, if he says, I'm coming back, and people are going to be like, oh, he doesn't die.
Sure. Yeah.
So he has to play it off for at least a month.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah,
But,
I think like like I'm happy if we don't see them again. No,
yeah, I'd be fine. I think this is satisfying. They do
it's
break up at
satisfying.
the end, but like I feel like those characters have come to like a good point. Like
Yes.
Drax danced at the end, which was
Mhm.
nice to see. He did it for the little kids. I love
Mhm.
that moment.
Did
But yeah, hey there, moron.
you?
Yeah, Groot.
But sorry, but I'm now upset. Upset. Now it's like, okay, Star Lord will return. I kind of wished that would be a surprise, dare I say. Even if that was through casting rumors, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Be like satisfied with this moment instead of now I'm anticipating when he is going to return.
Probably in What If.
Screw that. I mean, hey, what were you going to say about Groot?
I was just saying, like, Groot is a character. There's a moment where he spoke, "I love you guys."
So James Gunn has confirmed what that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard about that. I will say it's a weird moment. I don't think they needed to do that
I agree
because
with you.
most people will think he said those words. My mom thought like, so does he speak now or what?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't think they needed to have the "I love you guys" moment in there because it just confused the audience.
Yeah. It's like if you know, then it's kind of cool, but if you don't know, then it's really confusing.
Most people are not gonna know. They're not gonna have read that interview.
Yeah.
They'll be like, Groot,
Yeah.
why aren't you speaking more? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's true. But also, so Groot. He barely
Back
had a
to his
presence in
power
this movie.
again. He barely had a purpose, but like he was a good fighting force.
He's a good fighting force. I mean, he had his few moments, but I guess, dare I say, especially considering how many Rocket flashbacks there were, by the time we got to the middle point of the movie, I was expecting a flashback of seeing Rocket and Groot meeting.
Yeah.
Which, yes, in theory, wasn't needed for the story, but just at that point, I was expecting it, you know?
So here's another point going back to the Rocket not killing High Evolutionary scene. Peter just had a moment where he grabbed the scientist, jumped out the window, and just killed the guy with the landing and didn't care about it. Like the scientist didn't really do anything. He just got the information they had. And so
yeah, that was ruthless.
He was ruthless, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I kept looking to my mom to see what her reaction was. Because like I don't that's like that's straight up murder. I mean,
really
technically everything else was murder still, but like that was straight up murder. The guy just he didn't do anything. He just had the information. And like he killed him and they just cut his head out.
You know what? Actually, that scene was the scene I was most worried about. Graphic.
Yeah.
Like when they were cutting it off, that was like the one scene where I was honestly like kind of looking away.
Yeah, but then like, oh yeah, we're not gonna kill the High Evolutionary. I'm a Guardian of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll kill whoever we want, whenever we want. But hey, we have the moral high ground at the end because we choose not to kill.
Like honestly, if anything, like you didn't have to show him directly getting killed. It could have been like even like ready to swing the axe and then it cuts off.
It's not even like the character's arc for that thing to happen.
Yeah.
Like Batman, that's part of his moral code. It's part of his character arc. The same thing with Spider-Man. But like Guardians, with the past few films, nah. Peter shoots his dad straight up as soon as he finds out he gave his mom cancer.
Yeah. And honestly, despite Gamora's heart change, she's still probably like I would imagine they'd have to stop her. You know what I mean? Like if they wouldn't have done it, she would have kind of.
She would have. Like, yeah, she would have.
But she didn't somehow.
I don't know. It's kind of contrived.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other points of the movie that you're thinking about or wanted to address?
Thinking about wanting to address. I mean, we said it already. Like all the rocket stuff is pretty cool.
Yes.
Emotional, really well done.
Yes.
Everyone else, they're fine. They do their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's some fun bits here and there.
I mean, obviously, like Peter is the second main character of the movie, so he does his roles well.
Nebula, I liked her growth in this film, especially with her relationship with Rocket.
Okay, so I saw a tweet about that because they were the only Guardians alive during the blip.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I'm like, dang, it kind of makes it hit harder now.
Yeah, they're friends. Drax from the first film is nothing like what we have now.
Yeah.
In the first film, he's like, I want to avenge my family. Everything afterwards is like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Drax is fun, but it is...
He's fun, but it's still like,
wild how much it's changed.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's so much. It's a big change. It's kind of jarring when you think about it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, his moment with the kids, really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
His friendship with Mantis, pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmo is a good dog.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about that a little bit, and then I think like the holiday special almost anticipated me to think that Cosmo would have a bigger role in this movie, which she didn't, and she didn't have to, and then I was almost wondering, should she have been kind of like, no, she had her place, especially after kind of being around in the first.
Like, she has some cool action scenes.
Yeah.
We wanted Cosmo anyway.
So. Oh, did you? Okay, I didn't know that.
And the Cosmo has been here since the first Guardians film.
Mm-hmm.
In the background.
Yeah.
So we just wanted the dog.
I guess it's nice for her to have her moment.
Yes. It's fun. Enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, I don't know what other Marvel things coming up.
Ooh, wait. What was your thoughts about the Sean Gunn character, Kraglin, and the little...
The whistle thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I really wish that he had learned that off screen since he was practicing from the beginning, at the end of the second film.
Yeah, he was.
I get that it's his character arc for this film. I kind of felt like him at the end doing it really quickly after struggling the entire film was kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
But like, I get it.
That was
to give him something to do.
Yeah, that is kind of an interesting thing. Like, if it wasn't that, he would have no place in this movie.
Right. Which is why he was sidelined. He's also there to bring the ship to get all the animals out.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, like, if that was his only thing, like, how bad would that have been? But it also still makes his character less interesting.
I'm also very disappointed at how the Gold Lady just blew up.
True.
Like, she blew up, but, like, we didn't even know that she was there.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly, after, like, how powerful Adam Warlock is, I'm surprised that she isn't more, powerful enough to sustain some damage, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, she's that dainty. Okay. Like, which is fine, but, like, just after Adam, I figured, like, Adam would be able to at least find her body.
Right. But it's also like, oh, she blew up. Well, I didn't know she was there. Okay, I guess that's the end of her. Very short role in this film. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do want to see it again to kind
Yeah.
of make sure I'm thinking of this movie correctly / properly.
Yeah.
But in it's not a perfect movie.
It's not perfect.
Like I think we both were saying like 4 out of 5 stars is like our idea.
And all 4-star goes to Rocket.
It honestly does.
Honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. So your ranking is 132?
132, yes.
I'm gonna go with 321. I think, like I said, I've never been that crazy about the Guardians, so they've never been like a selling point for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've never. I love Gamora as like a top 5 kind of thing, but never like I love the Guardians so much, and so I've always liked 2 better than 1, and so like it was this movie where I felt the most, that I appreciated the most, and again, with it kind of being more of a standalone movie, like it also along the lines of appreciate the most, can appreciate the most. And so I think currently those are the factors that kind of play alongside it. With it currently being my favorite Guardians movie, very much can change. But I think especially considering its standalone nature, it kind of just really, yeah, I think it is my favorite of the 3. However, I'm not ready to say it's like a top 5 MCU movie. I don't know what my top 5 looks like. There's some people easily saying, oh, it's my top 3, if not my favorite. And I'm not ready to say that quite so quickly and easily.
Yeah, no.
Top 10, most likely.
Maybe.
Because there's only 30 movies, so it's probably
only 30.
Because like sometimes like when you rank things, sometimes I think of like, I don't know, like, oh, a certain band has like 100 songs. Like say like Taylor Swift, she has over 100 songs. So like top 10 is like, oh, that's only 10 out of like over 100 songs. You know what I mean? While the MCU is like, oh, that's just a third of all the stuff. So
true.
Yeah. Now I've kind of been wanting like, oh, I should go and rank my stuff again, like I do with every movie. But I did not do that after Quantumania.
Because you knew it was like near the bottom.
I will say with Quantumania, I don't hate the movie. It's not good,
right?
But I don't despise it. It very much like exists. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a movie to me. What is really disappointing about it is it's not moving the MCU forward like it was teasing itself to. That was the most disappointing part of it.
Yeah.
Like Doctor Strange 2, like that honestly, as a standalone movie, is a fun movie.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things. It probably will eventually, but it's not right now. Yeah.
I'm satisfied with this film.
I am satisfied with this movie too. And not just this movie, with it being the cap of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Like there could have been an aspect where I liked the movie, but I'd be like, oh, I want more. Or, I don't feel like we got our proper goodbye. I feel like we got all of that, except for Star-Lord Will Return. It kind of threw a wrench in that mentality. Outside of that, it was a good goodbye.
Good goodbye.
Yes.
And nobody died. And I'm okay with that.
And I'm okay with it too. That's
a good subversion of expectation.
Yeah.
One would be everybody died, but here nobody died.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it took me 20 hours to be okay with it, but now I'm okay with it. So
yeah, let's hope they don't rehash on any of this and ruin the characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Secret Wars, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
We'll see.
What they
That's
do
like
with Secret
10 years
Wars.
down the road, so
honestly, at this point, it's at least 5 years.
With the writer strike for sure, yeah.
Like it's not making its 26th date. Let's be honest.
20, yeah, no.
I mean, especially at this point, like Daredevil was supposed to premiere at the beginning of 24.
Oh no!
It's probably not premiering till at least the end of 24. Let's be honest.
Okay. Well,
like I mean, I don't know for sure, but like,
it sounds about
we
right.
were supposed to get Ironheart this year. We were supposed to get Echo this year. We still might get Echo this year, but we're not getting Ironheart this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's being put next year. Like I think there's enough things being pushed over to next year, and that domino effect where Daredevil is most likely part of that as well. So.
Yeah, well, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And then now, honestly, with the writer's strike, what's going to happen with Daredevil? Because that's supposed to film from January to December.
Correct.
Like how? So you're telling me you're going to continue?
Andor is still going to be filming, but Tony Gilroy isn't going to write anything else for it.
Sorry.
Which is, it's a slippery slope.
You know what? Next week we'll talk more about the writer's strike.
Will we?
Because there'll probably be more developments. Oh, not next week. In 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Actually, I should be able to talk in 2 weeks. I will be flying out the next day, I believe. So I'll keep you updated, I guess.
Yeah.
But if not, then maybe we'll record in person.
It will be whenever the next episode comes out for you guys. So don't worry.
Yeah. You know what? Wait. Actually, next week, I'm open, actually.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if you wanted your little break thing.
In general, I do, but I'm like, we have Guardians. I don't want to wait a week to talk about this. And then, so we'll do next week, and then we'll break until either we meet in person or I'm back from my trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be graduated by then.
You'll be graduated by then. All right, so next week it is.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, that's Guardians. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Goodbye.